Hey guys, I'm making this video as a practice before you take your first checkpoint. So I'm calling it practice checkpoint 1. So these 7 problems are very similar to the 7 problems that you will see on your first checkpoint. So what I would suggest you do is get out a piece of paper, write down these problems and do them along with me. And then you can use this when you do your actual checkpoint for a grade. So I'm going to do these on every single checkpoint. This is a really great way to practice and make sure you're ready. And then it's also like having notes for the checkpoint. So number 1, they give you 5 to the negative 2 power. This one was multiple choice, so you had to choose which of these 4 answers is the same as 5 to the negative 2. So if you remember what we do with negative exponents, is that means that really this 5 to the negative 2, that should be in the denominator of the fraction, like 1 over 5 to the second power. And if we simplify that a little bit further, that's the same as 1 over 25. So that looks like this choice right here. So they try to give you some other common mistakes, like multiplying these two or other common mistakes. So don't fall for those mistakes. Number 2. So we have negative out front and then 4 to the negative 6 power. And again, this was multiple choice. You had to choose which of these 4 answers is the same as this. So thinking about 4 to the negative 6, just ignore that negative for a minute. I'm just going to leave the negative out front. 4 to the negative 6 is the same as 1 over 4 to the 6th power. And 1 over 4 to the 6th power like this is the same as saying 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4 6 times. So I want to look for an answer that looks like this, which we have right here, this very first answer. So then you always want to make sure that none of the other ones are correct as well. Sometimes it's like a select all that apply. So negative 4 times negative 6, no, that's not what exponents mean. 6 4 times, nope. This one is kind of tricky. 1 over negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. So they're repeating negative 4s here, and this exponent is not being applied to the negative. It's not the same as if there was a negative inside of the parentheses. So the only one that's correct would be that first choice. Number 3. So you just have to simplify this. 2 to the negative 6 times 2 to the 4th. This is one of the first exponent rules that you learn. When you're multiplying two things that have the same base, you add the exponents. So this is going to be 2 to the negative 6 plus 4 power, which would be 2 to the negative 2 power. Now, depending on how they want you to leave your answer, you could leave it like that. Or if you want to get rid of that negative exponent, you would move it to the denominator. So 1 over 2 to the second. And you could also simplify that and say 1 over 4. So any of those answers would be fine. Number 4. So this is maybe the second exponent rule that you learn, the quotient rule. When you're dividing two things that have exponents, that have the same base with exponents, you subtract the exponents. So this would be 5 to the negative 3 minus negative 4. I always suggest that you actually write this out so that you don't mess up those minus and negatives. So when we do negative 3 minus negative 4, remember those minus and negative is really the same as plus a positive. So this comes out as 5 to the first power. Number 5. This is the raising a power to a power rule. So when we raise a power to a power, we multiply those exponents. So 5 to the 10 times 3 would be 5 to the 30th power. So all of these last couple right here were just straight rules. You have to remember the product rule, the quotient rule, and raising a power to a power. Number 6, another one of the rules. When you have an exponent that's being applied to two things inside the parentheses. On this particular problem, I looked at the answer, and what they want you to write is they just want you to show that you applied that exponent to both pieces. So they want you to write like this, 7 to the 3rd times 6 to the 3rd. They didn't actually want you to figure out what 7 to the 3rd is or 6 to the 3rd. You can just leave it like this. And the last type of problem you'll see on your checkpoint is a fraction raised to a power. So this is similar to the one up here. We're going to apply that third power to the numerator and to the denominator of that fraction. So it's 2 to the third over 3 to the third. And I think it just wanted you to leave it like that as well. So those are the type of problems you can expect to see on checkpoint 1. Like I said, write these down and have it next to you when you're taking your actual checkpoint. That would be very helpful.